MultiVersus, this is a game that has been out in beta for a little bit, but by all rights, it's pretty much I don't know if I want to say a done game, but a game that is out there and playable. And I have a lot to say about it, good and bad. I know a lot of people have overwhelmingly loved this game so far. I think being free is a big part of that. I don't really find myself on that same wavelength, I guess, but I don't hate it either. There's a lot of good and a lot of bad, and I wanted to cover that today in sort of a standard review on this channel. So if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content. I do appreciate you very, very much. Channel's been in a very odd place. Like I said, I'm pretty sure the YouTube algorithmic stuff changed. We have not really been growing for a little bit, but I appreciate you all, and I'm sure we'll get out of it and weather the storm like we always do. Now, here's the thing with MultiVersus that I want to say right off the bat, is that it seems to be founded on a principle that I disagree with, which is the principle that no one will pay for a Smash Bros-like brawler unless it's Smash Bros. Yes, I know that this has been something that the consumer market has sometimes shown to companies, especially things like Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. I know they wanted to sell better and wanted to be a bigger deal than it was. And I know that there have been other games that have come and gone and even stick around to this day, like Brawlhalla and other stuff like that. It's very hard to make a game like this because Smash Bros was there first, and it made a really good game with really so many IP characters that were established and interesting and fun, and actually worked as a weird advertisement for their other games when it comes to Nintendo. So I understand that Smash Bros is kind of the unique outlier of success, but it really frustrates me that this game seems to have been founded on that principle, because it is not by any means free. And now you're thinking, Jay, what are you talking about? It's a free game. I can download it right now. Absolutely. But here's the thing. You are by no means getting this full game. You are by no means getting the full MultiVersus experience downloading it for free. This is very, very much like a mobile game, and in some ways I would argue even worse. I would argue that the full game that you want to get for MultiVersus is the $40 package. This is the standard Founders Pack. It gives you 15 character tickets so you can unlock characters, a pitiful amount of Gleamium, which is used to buy cosmetics, and a banner flare that doesn't matter. But what I'm getting at with this is that there is an illusion with this game that it is free and that it has all kinds of characters and all kinds of stuff, and it is to a point. It is free, but you need to grind your butt off in order to get anything in this game, like anything at all. You get a few gold per match, unless you are getting to a milestone in leveling up or somewhere in the battle pass, which might have mentioned you have to buy the battle pass as well. You're only getting probably 20-ish gold per match unless you hit these milestones, and you need like 2,000, 3,000-ish to unlock a lot of the characters in this game. And there's an illusion right now that there's a decent amount of characters unlocked at the beginning, because you start with characters like Wonder Woman and Superman and Rain Dog. But one thing that I think a lot of people missed when they reviewed this, even in the reviews I've seen, is that those characters are not unlocked actually. Not permanently. This is something very similar to Killer Instinct and what it did back in the day with Xbox One, where there is a free character rotation. It just happens to be that there's a few, and then those characters go away and you have to pay to unlock them again. Now here's the thing, Jay, you gotta be intellectually transparent here, because you can unlock those characters by playing. You can unlock them with gold. And yeah, that's absolutely true, but the problem that I have with this game is that it seems very, very, very focused on you buying Gleamium. So then the question becomes, what is Gleamium and how is that different than gold? And I'm going to be honest with you, the game doesn't do a great job of actually explaining that. A lot of the explanations to that are on the internet from other people and from other companies, places like IGN and other outlets that talk about video games. They've done a way better job explaining these resources than the in-game platform does. But essentially, gold is earned in-game as a reward for something you do, like playing the game, and Gleamium itself is not. Gleamium is purchasable. It's essentially V-Bucks, but if there was no way to earn V-Bucks in Fortnite, even if you did buy the Battle Pass, essentially you are buying Gleamium to get any of the cosmetics in this game for the most part that are there right now, unless you buy the Battle Pass, which is also buying with money. Now, that doesn't make this game bad in terms of play, because I do want to state with this that for me personally, I am not the best fighting game expert of all time. I think a lot of you know that. I've talked about this before. Fighters are something I have a very big interest in. I'm the guy who owns a fight stick, okay, like an arcade fight stick, but I suck. And that's probably never going to change. I don't have the hundreds of hours to devote to a lot of these games, to learning the extreme technical things, like when specifically to use a neutral hit versus an up X, or when specifically to do like a animation cancel in something like Street Fighter, things like that. I only know basics from playing the games when it comes to these fighting games. I'm not an expert. So because of that, I don't feel like it's really that fair for someone like me to go in and take a ton of shots at things like the gameplay itself in terms of extreme technicalities. I can talk about those things in general as just a player, but I don't want someone to get their hopes up that I'm going to sit here and do a 10-hour special on why the dodge invincibility frames need a buff of neutral hit power bonus times 50 or whatever. I'm not that guy, okay? I'm not the esports commentator for fighting, but I do think that the gameplay itself is fun. I think that it works well. I think that the ring outs are especially fun, being able to knock people out of the ring and actually get people's health down, which is kind of shown in the same way as Smash Bros. Smash Bros. Is, I guess, general UI, which is showing you their damage percentage go up, and then as it gets higher, they take more damage and they're more likely to go out of the ring. That kind of stuff is really interesting and fun, and the game does a good job of it. So if you're getting this game for a child or for somebody who doesn't care at all about unlocking characters and you just want something free to mess around on, I think this game is really fun for that. It's like a great game for kids. Although I will say the problem is, because these characters are so directed at children and also, well, fans of all ages, but if we look at the roster, you know, there's a lot of characters that are made very accessible to children, with maybe the exception, I guess, of Arya Stark, which is a little bit of an outlier. Everyone here is kind of a kids-ish character. And the problem with that is that if you do kind of aim this game at kids, it comes off almost a little predatory to me, because the idea is, hey, we're going to put Shaggy on the cover, but you can't play as him. But mom, but dad, I want to play as Shaggy. You can make your kid sit there and play through the game forever to unlock that character, but we know what most people are going to do. They're going to end up buying that character either for their kid or for themselves or whatever, and that's exactly what it seems like WB MultiVersus wants you to do. It's not just cosmetics that are locked behind things, it is actual gameplay elements as well. And you're going to say, well, that's not technically true, because you can just earn gold to get these characters, and it's the cosmetics that are locked behind Gleamium, isn't it? And that is true, but here's the problem with that. If you do grind to just get these characters, one, you are not getting those cosmetics anyway for the most part, and two, the game kind of neglects to really get into and tell you very much about how the gold system works. Gold is used to upgrade perks, which directly affect how your players play in the game, how your characters actually handle themselves, what they do, stat bonuses, things like that. And the frustrating thing about this is then if you are buying characters with the gold instead of buying them with real money, with Gleamium, you're technically putting yourself eventually at a disadvantage, because you're going to have to play more and more matches with worse perks. Imagine Call of Duty, but if you could buy Commando Pro back in the day instead of earning it over time. They give you the option to buy these things, and because of that, if you do go in, grind, and then earn a character through grinding instead of buying them, you now don't have the gold to spend on perks, which means that you're going to have issues later on compared to people who do. If you want to play offline against bots, that's not as much of a problem. But I do want to mention something funny with that. There is no offline. You can play against bots, yes, but here's the problem with that. There's no offline mode. So if you're playing against bots, you need to have an internet connection on this game. At first, I thought this was a mistake. I thought that this was something like, oh, well, I forgot and neglected to set my Xbox Series X as a home Xbox to play my games offline, which is a dumb system in and of itself. Fine, whatever, weird Xbox problem. I'll go fix that. But lo and behold, to my dismay, you cannot get on this game if you are offline no matter what. You can get to the menu that says log in, but there's a mandatory checkpoint that actually registers your game with the WB Games servers and stuff like that, that even though there are bots in this game, you can't play them if your internet goes out. Now, is this the biggest deal in the world to most people? No, but I do think it's kind of funny because it shows that unless something changes, if this game goes down, if servers are taken down for this game ever, unless this changes and unless there is plans for support of this, because I'm not going to write a dissertation and research the hell out of this game just to find out their future plans. But unless there are plans of that, that means that if you do start making these purchases, you're eventually going to lose them. They're going to go away. It's not something like Street Fighter V. It's not something like Injustice. It's not something, Injustice 2, I should say, like one of those games, or even Smash Bros, where as long as you get the DLC or get that stuff, you can play it wherever, whenever, offline against bots or even other players locally, stuff like that. No, you can't even get on this game to do local play against your friends in the same room with you with a controller on your system, nor can you get on it to play against bots without the internet. I think that that's a design flaw that's pretty bad. I expect it for big MMOs because that is the whole game, right? That's all it is online interactions with people. When you have things like RuneScape or Star Trek Online or World of Warcraft, things like that, fine, I understand that. But when you get to a game like this, where there's a lot of stuff you can do by yourself, but you lock people out of that if they're not on the internet, I think that that's an extremely frustrating thing to do. The cosmetic selection itself is pretty pitiful. Most characters only have one actual alternate cosmetic, and a lot of them are ridiculously priced, and it's very much done by demand. So for example, if you look at Batman himself, his cosmetic option to buy is from Batman the Animated Series, which is one of, I would say, the most prolific groundbreaking cartoons of all time. I mean, we talk about it on this channel, everybody talks about it. The old DCAU was king. And when it comes down to that, it's funny because if you actually look at the price of it, it's about $20 almost for just that skin. So even if you're okay with the buying things, with the being priced out of the game immediately, well, you're going to have a problem because the prices themselves are ludicrous, which is something I was talking to people on Twitter who follow this channel on Twitter. We do have social media over there. If you're not following us, we appreciate you checking it out. But I was talking to some of you on Twitter about this, and that's kind of one thing that I think is really frustrating, is that the prices, even if you accept them as being a core part of the game, are intrinsically ridiculous. It is ridiculous to charge $20 for one skin, especially in a game that's unusable offline despite having single player mechanics and components in it. It's ridiculous to charge almost $10 every time you want to unlock a character unless you want to grind and put yourself at that disadvantage with gold because you won't have as good of perks. The cosmetics in MultiVersus actually cost more than Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. This is something broken down by Inverse very well, and they get into some of the pricing comparisons. Super Smash Bros. Itself, if you buy the $60 base game and then buy everything else, eventually the total rises for getting everything for Smash Bros. To $154. That's a lot, right? But Smash Bros. Is a proven IP. It had multiple character fighter passes. It added in different stages each time. It added in a lot, so a lot of people, including me, were willing to pay that. I'm not just a cheap ass. When it comes to Street Fighter V, you buying it now from scratch ends up coming to about $173 to get everything, including the Season 5 Premium Pass and all kinds of other stuff, about $175. A lot of other games are even cheaper. Guilty Gear Survive, $90 to get everything. BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, $50. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, a slightly under $70. When it comes to this game itself, how much is it to buy all this stuff? $255 to buy everything in MultiVersus when it comes to all of its cosmetics and all kinds of other stuff. And this does not include characters. Most characters are almost $10 to unlock, but let's just be extremely generous and say that it takes only $5 per character to unlock them instead of, I don't know, $10 like it really does. There are 12 locked characters as of right now in the game, which is one reason why it almost comes off like the $40 Founders Pack is a good idea if you're trying to play this game, because instead of paying almost $10 a character like it actually is, or $5 a character like we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt of, you'd be getting the whole pack itself. But let's say that we add in that price of $5 a piece, which again, for the 50th time, is less than they actually are. You're looking at over $300. If you were to buy every character in the game and then buy all the cosmetics, including the banners, the emotes, all of this stuff, over $300 for this game. And it is not an over $300 game, okay? There are games that I will pay a ton of money for, me personally. Silent Hill 2, when it was up at its peak for value, I think I paid like $130 for it. Silent Hill 3, I think I paid probably slightly more than that for it, because those are games Konami has neglected and they're actually kind of hard to get nowadays. There are games that I am willing to spend this money on, and I'm sure that I've spent over $100 on Fortnite over the course of its existence, but the difference is that it feels like there is more of a perceived value there. You're getting more gameplay out of it, more variety. The game changes all the time. There's more things to do and more interesting objects in the game. This game's whole purpose in terms of MultiVersus seems to sell you something, and it doesn't do a good job of hiding it like Fortnite does. This game to me feels very much that way, where unless you want to spend hours on the same characters just to get new ones, to eventually, by the way, have a lot of those characters cycled out, including characters like Superman and Finn in the free character rotation right now, where you'd then have to buy them in the future. Unless you want to deal with that, you should buy the characters. And trust me, it's not cheap. I think that that's probably the biggest gripe I have with this game, and I know I talked about it for a long time, but it's so frustrating to me because looking at the game itself, it's a fun game. Like when you play the game and you're out here hitting neutrals, you're dodging, you're actually ringing people out, you do the taunts and have fun with that kind of stuff. For example, I got the battle pass and I unlocked a "That's all folks" ring out, right? Where Porky Pig pops up and it's like, "That's all folks" when I knock somebody out of the ring. That kind of stuff has a lot of personality to it. One thing that both Jill and I talked about together is the art style in this game is very fun. Now, there are some characters that look a little doofy or off, like Superman. He looks like he got hit in the head. He's having a very bad day. In general, a lot of the characters look very good here, and they are in a uniform art style where they all kind of fit together, blend together, and have a fun time. And it's frustrating to me because when it comes to this game, things like the money component are one of the biggest roadblocks and obstacles to this being a good game. It's not the only one though. Yes, the gameplay is fun and there is a lot of personality and fun things in the rings themselves, whether it be the ring from Steven Universe or the Batcave itself, different things like that. And the voice actors, including I believe Kevin Conroy is back to voice Batman in this. A lot of that kind of stuff is very fun and gives this game a ton of personality and makes it enjoyable to play. But you don't just have the money problem, you also have a problem with character selection. The purchases aren't the only problem with the game. If they were, it would still be extremely egregious, and I think that that problem is much bigger than this one. But when it comes to the roster and character selection itself, it's very much leaving a lot to be desired. And I know that the explanation to this is always, well, it can be fixed over time, but I don't really agree with the idea of launching your game in an okay state when it could be a fantastic state, okay? You're launching Smush Bros instead of Smash Bros at this point. It's just not what it could be. And the character selection, I think, really encapsulates that. There are tons of characters that I think belong here and make a lot of sense for being fun and funny in this game. Shaggy, Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, Taz, Iron Giant. But when it comes to someone like LeBron, I know that I'm known as like a huge LeBron hater. I don't like the guy. I don't like how obsessed he is with politics all the time, but how neglectful he is of other politics. Things he'll talk about with things like in America, but then ignore human rights violations that are happening in China that he's making money off of. Things like that really piss me off about LeBron. I understand, though, that he is one of the greats in terms of basketball. He's an amazing player. Like, he has insane skill, and he's very marketable. I get that. But it's very odd to me, and I think LeBron encapsulates this issue for me, because I look at this roster and I'm thinking, you're trying to push Space Jam with this, right? You put the Toon Squad jersey on LeBron. I understand you just made a Space Jam. But let's look at the facts that Space Jam was universally panned by critics and people who watched it just at home. People hated it. They took a dump all over that thing. It's very odd to me to push something like this, but not put MJ in here, not put Michael Jordan himself. the greatest of all time in this game. There is an option later on to add in Michael Jordan, or to add in Lola Bunny to go alongside Bugs Bunny, or to add in Jon Snow alongside Arya Stark, or to add in one of a dozen other characters, or 100 other characters, frankly, because it's WB. But I think it's very odd to see characters like Garnet, or Steven Universe, or LeBron, or Arya Stark. But guess what we don't see? Anybody from Harry Potter at launch. Nobody. A huge Warner Brothers property. None of the original cast, none of the Fantastic Beasts people. I would have expected them to throw in Newt to try and push Fantastic Beasts, because it seems like this is very much a marketing thing. But no, you don't even see that. Well, who else don't we see? Lord of the Rings. Now, it is extremely possible that they're waiting until the Amazon Prime series launches in order to try and push Lord of the Rings again to kind of do cross-promotion, sure. But it's very odd to look at the character roster and be like, I love Iron Giant, and I know Steven Universe is popular, but like, Harry Potter isn't here? What? There's a lot of things that I look at with this game and I'm just shocked by in terms of how it was released, including character selection and the purchases. If you are buying this game, I guess I should say getting this game for a child, just to have fun on and have a good time, I understand that. You're probably going to get a lot of nagging and bothering you in terms of getting you to buy stuff for them, just like Fortnite. But I understand that it is a fun, free distraction for a kid or for someone who doesn't care about unlocking everything and doesn't care about getting most of the stuff. But for those of us who do care about that stuff, who enjoy things like the Wonder Woman Bloodline skin or the Batman the Animated Series skin and want to play with that and kind of show off the personality of these characters, or who even want to earn the characters and play with them, it really doesn't feel rewarding to me at all as is. This is something where I did get the pre-season battle pass, and I can tell you right now, the minute that I finish that battle pass, I'm going to stop playing until there is another one, and I'm going to see if there's anything good in it, because the character selection as is frustrates me. The fact that the characters I've been leveling up now, including Superman, are just going to revert to locked eventually after the free character rotation goes away and I'll have to grind then for him, frustrates me. The fact that everything is pointed at me having to spend money on the game, versus just being able to buy it. Like, I would have been happy to buy this game for full retail price if I got everything with it. But the fact that I can't do that frustrates me. Because even if you were to do that and buy the Founders Pack, there's still so much crap in here that is just locked behind cosmetic paywalls and buying Gleamium. It's so frustrating to see a game with so much personality that's bogged down by so many things, including its progression, which is focused around just doing daily missions and giving you almost nothing for playing at all. It's so frustrating to watch this kind of come out and get loved for it. To me, I'm not here to tell you how to spend your money. It's not my money, and I'm not here to tell you what you can and can't like. If people love this game, I'm so happy for you, genuinely. But I really think it sends a bad message that people are just eating it up in terms of loving exactly what they put out and what they're doing with it, just because it's free. The free element of this game really comes off to me as an illusion. It's not free. It's a lot. It's a lot of money. Or a lot of time. And even then, there's still a lot you'll never get without spending money. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on this whole thing? Interested to hear your thoughts. Please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content. We have everything in the description down below, including all our social medias and a thriving Discord that I encourage you to join, make some friends, have a good time. And of course, we also have our secondary channel, Degenerate Plays, where we play through tons of games, and my wife Jill's Etsy store, where she's going to be starting doing a very new thing, which is going to be awesome, which is personalized pet paintings very soon. Coming very soon, that she's been working on. We're going to be getting that up very quickly, but honestly, really fun. She painted Kitty the other day. I adore it. So I do encourage you to check that out. Have a fantastic day. And as always, everyone, stay shway.